Hey, thank you for your time. But the first question is, do I call you Bailey, Mike, Speedball, Speedball, Mike Bailey? How do you like to be called?
You can call me whatever you want. I'm okay with either, honestly. Speedball. So I've been called all three. In Japan, they call you by your last name, so I'm used to be called Bailey from there as well. Speedball, I like. Mike, I like as well. So please, your choice.
Well, Mike, thank you for taking the time. You've had a fantastic run in Impact, and it just keeps getting better and better and better. Did you know it was going to go this great when you signed there, or are you just taking it 1 week at a time?
I mean, yes, I did. And that's the exact reason I signed there. I mean, I knew the level of talent that was going around. I am, of course, familiar with the X division. I've been a fan my entire life almost. And the exact reason I joined Impact was to mix it up with all the absolutely top tier world class wrestlers that are in the X division. And I am not surprised that it has been going this well.
So you're one of those self-belief positivity people. Have you always been that case, or just in the last couple of years, as things got better, you then got optimistic about things?
So I don't consider myself an optimist. I consider myself a realist. And so because I don't think it's like blind optimism and going, no matter what, it'll go well. No, in fact, I'm extremely anxious and calculating. And so there was a lot of thought that went into, that decision. And I take every match extremely seriously. And there's no positivity. There's no blind faith that anything will ever go right. However, I spent many, many years developing the skill set that I bring to the ring.
Yeah.
As have, all the excellent wrestlers that make up Impact Wrestling. So it's more mathematics than positivity.
Well, speaking of awesomeness, you're going to Louisville, Kentucky for some Impact events in the very near future. Is that a city that you spend much time in?
So unfortunately not. This is going to be my third time performing in Louisville for Impact Wrestling this year. And this is my curse as a professional wrestler, is going to all these great cities and getting to enjoy none or very little of them. I make a conscious effort sometime to take an extra day when my busy schedule allows it to, sightsee and enjoy the local foods. But I have not gotten to enjoy much of Louisville yet, and I would absolutely love to, because I have faith in it being a great city, because I know the audiences that come to watch Impact over there at Old Forester Hall are always fantastic and loud and supportive, and I appreciate that immensely. So yeah, I think I should spend more time in Louisville. I should make an effort.
Well, is it the difficult part about seeing the city? Is it the old wrestler thing of you get into the city, you get the rental car, you got to go to the gym, you got to tan, you wrestle, then you're there for a couple of hours after that, and then there's no time? Or is it more of you're going appearance to appearance, or do you just like to sleep?
Quite frankly, it's a mix of all. I mean, the sleeping goes into the preparation. I always do a lot of match watching, a lot of watching footage. When I know my match in advance, I always make sure to be prepared for that, which usually means an extra couple hours of watching some wrestling ahead of doing some wrestling, which adds up to the other appearances and the tanning and the gym and all of that. So yeah, it's a combination.
You're a student of the game, still at this high level, you're still studying tape. That's admirable.
Well, of course, but I don't think that's an option. I don't think that's a negotiable thing. I think if I want to maintain the level at which I perform, being a student of the game is a no-brainer. It's a necessary step in the process.
Does that have to do with your history in Japan for the most part? Because it's a sport. It's taken more seriously in Japan than in some parts of the States per se. But the people that train you are very instrumental in your long-term profession. So do your Japanese roots have to do with why you study tape and why you're not at every craft brewery within a 5-mile zone of the event?
So that's very hard to say. But I will disagree with you. Definitely not the craft brewer thing, because if there's anything I've learned about wrestling in Japan is that the way over there is to do both, is to study tape all morning and then wrestle and then spend the rest of the night at the craft brewery. But I don't know. Honestly, that's hard to tell. If you had a control version of Speedball Mike Bailey that didn't spend so much time in Japan, I wonder if I would be doing the same thing. But I think yes, because again, it's very common in professional wrestling. If you're attempting to be one of the best wrestlers in the world, no matter what your path has been, you put the utmost care and effort into every match.
What's life like for you outside of the ring, outside of that studying tape, outside of being ready? Is there much life?
There absolutely is. There's a conscious effort to have as much life as possible outside of professional wrestling and to get to enjoy the time. It's very easy. I'm extremely busy, of course, between professional wrestling, being on the road 3-4 days a week, as well as, trying to put out as much content as they're related to that, and editing vlogs, creating thumbnails, spending time streaming on Twitch.
Yeah.
Something, again, that I have gotten better at over the last several years, I want to say, especially due to my wife, Veda Scott, with whom I travel very often, is that whenever we can, try to get our flight an extra day late and spend some time. For example, just on this past Sunday, we were both at the PWG in LA, and we booked ourselves a red eye for the next day, just so that we could go check out a couple museums, spend some time in LA. But that's a difficult thing for most professional wrestlers. It's so easy, and there's always a lot on my mind, and I have to be conscious about, take an extra day to sightsee, which I love to do. One of my favorite things in the world is traveling, discovering new places. So that's a big part of it.
Any museum recommendations from that LA trip?
So this was the what's it called? I blanking on the name right now. The
MoCA, MoCA.
No, this was the Academy Museum of Film, I think, which was very nice. A very, very pleasant experience. And I think that's the only museum I've ever seen in LA. We're thinking about the LA Zoo. We do love zoos. We'll be going to the Cincinnati Zoo sometime in the next week, most likely around a trip to Dayton for Pro Wrestling Revolver. But yeah, we like zoos, we like museums, we like sightseeing, we like walking around. Walking around in cities is, honestly, without a plan, probably one of my favorite things.
Amen to that. Are you also the type that picks up the souvenirs when you go to the zoos and the museums?
No, I am not. I'm not a collector of things at all. And I think I should be, because I've come across a lot of like fun wrestling memorabilia and stuff that I probably should have kept, but never did. I mean, due to traveling so much, and for the last, I want to say, maybe 10 years of my life, I've been living essentially out of a suitcase, and I've barely had a home, just constantly moving. I just haven't considered amassing that many possessions. Like toys and stuff are interesting and fun, but I've never really spent much time. However, one thing I am consciously making an effort to do, given that people are so kind in buying Speedball Mike Bailey t-shirts and stickers and stuff, is buying more shirts and clothing to, help support the organizations I want to support. I'm not wearing it now. I wish I was, but we went to Columbus Zoo recently, and I picked up a Columbus Zoo shirt that I wear proudly.
The free advice that I'll give you is the souvenir that you buy in every city is the refrigerator magnet. They take up no space, and then you have a whole door or wall of fridge magnets.
See, that's very smart.
Yeah, every now and then the smart thing comes out of this guy's mouth. That was the one for the day. So the last question before I let you go, do you have a TV recommendation, a show that we should be watching that you say is great and or the wife says is great, and that's that?
So on a plane, I just watched, and this is my favorite thing. This is always the best flights. And I'm going to go back, and I'm actually going to recommend two shows, because one of the greatest flights I ever had was on the way back from Japan, which was a 13-hour flight from Tokyo to Montreal. And I stumbled across a show called The Night Of, which is on HBO Max. And they had the whole, it's a miniseries, so there's only one season, but they had the whole show on one flight. And if you can find an entire season to watch.
Yes.
That's always going to make the fight go by so much faster. Then, because the problem with movies is you watch one, it's great, and then you have to pick another one, and then you have to, check in. But I started watching a show called 61st Street.
Oh yeah.
Which is very rough, but very well done and very enjoyable. I got to watch the first 4 episodes on my flight back from LA, and I would definitely recommend it.
I think that's on AMC.
That is on AMC. That's correct.
Yeah. Every now and then this guy knows something. But anyway, Mike, looking forward to seeing you wear some championship gold for a long, long time in the future. But keep up all the greatness, and I hope you get to have that extra day in Louisville as well.
Thank you so much.
Paltrocast.